The funeral hall was silent until a German shepherd began barking uncontrollably at the soldier's coffin. People whispered in confusion, thinking the dog had gone mad. But seconds later, something happened that left the entire room frozen. A miracle no one could have ever imagined. The church was draped in solemn silence, broken only by the faint sound of a lone bell echoing through the hall. Rows of mourners sat with bowed heads, their eyes wet with grief as the soft glow of candlelight flickered against the polished wood of the coffin. Draped with a folded flag and a small bouquet of white lilies, the coffin stood at the center, a heartbreaking reminder of the young soldier who had given everything for his country. Beside the coffin, a large German shepherd lay with his ears low, his brown eyes glistening as if he understood the gravity of the moment. He had been the soldier's loyal companion, both in the field and at home, and now he refused to leave. His master's sighed. Occasionally, he let out a soft whimper that made the room tighten with emotion. Family and friends tried to stay composed, but the sight of the loyal dog broke the dam for many. Mothers clutched their children, fathers wiped away silent tears, and the soldier's mother knelt to stroke the dog's fur. Yet, beneath the calm surface of the funeral, a subtle tension began to grow. Something about the dog's gaze hinted that this day was far from ordinary. As the priest began to speak, the dog suddenly lifted his head. His ears perked, and a low growl rumbled in his chest, startling the mourners in the front row. Whispers rippled through the hall, and a few people exchanged uneasy glances. The German shepherd had always been gentle, almost shy around strangers, but today, his behavior was different, sharper, more alert, as though he sensed something no one else could. He began to pace around the coffin, sniffing the air and then pressing his nose against the soldier's uniform. A soft whine escaped his throat, followed by a bark that echoed loudly in the quiet church. Gasps filled the room. The soldier's father instinctively reached out to calm the dog, but the animal stepped back, his eyes locked on the coffin, tail rigid with focus. The priest hesitated, his words faltering as the dog barked again, louder this time, as if warning everyone of an unseen danger, or trying desperately to say something. Some guests shifted uncomfortably in their seats, unsure if they should intervene or simply watch. By now, the once somber funeral had become charged with tension. No one could understand why the dog was acting this way, but the truth was about to shock everyone. Suddenly, the German shepherd let out a piercing bark that made everyone in the church jump. It wasn't an ordinary bark, it was sharp, urgent, and filled with a strange desperation, echoing off the wooden walls of the quiet hall. All eyes turned toward the coffin, hearts pounding. The dog then placed his front paws gently on the edge of the coffin, his nose brushing against the soldier's uniform. A deep whine escaped him, followed by another series of loud barks, as if he was calling out for help. Guests exchanged worried glances, and murmurs began to rise among the mourners. Some whispered that maybe the dog sensed something they couldn't. The soldier's mother clutched her chest, tears streaming down her face. She whispered to her husband, "He's trying to tell us something." The father, though skeptical, felt a chill crawl down his spine. The barking was relentless, yet not aggressive. It was pleading, almost human in its sorrow. Everyone froze, waiting for something to happen. Even the priest stood still, hands clasped in front of him, watching the dog as if he held the answer to a question no one dared to ask. And then, the miracle they never imagined began to unfold. The room fell into a stunned silence as the German shepherd leapt fully onto the coffin, his head hovering protectively over the soldier's chest. Then, with trembling paws, he began nudging at the soldier's uniform, right where the heart would be. A soft, muffled sound followed, so faint that at first no one believed it. The soldier's mother gasped. "Did you hear that?" She whispered, her voice breaking. People leaned closer, holding their breath. Suddenly, the faint sound came again, this time clearer. A tiny whimper. Shock rippled through the mourners as the soldier's jacket pocket shifted ever so slightly. The dog barked again, more insistent, and nosed the pocket until it fell open. Inside, curled up and trembling, was a newborn puppy. Its tiny body quivered as it let out a soft cry, the sound carrying through the silent hall like a fragile echo of life. The dog whined in relief, licking the puppy gently, as if introducing it to the world. Gasps and cries of astonishment filled the church. No one had expected this. The loyal dog had not been mourning alone. He had been protecting a secret of love, life, and legacy right inside the heart of the fallen soldier. The room erupted in stunned whispers as the tiny puppy let out another soft cry, its eyes barely open, its fur matted and damp. The German shepherd lowered his head, nuzzling the fragile creature with infinite care, as if to say, "I've kept you safe. I've kept my promise." The soldier's commanding officer stepped forward, his hands trembling as he gently lifted the puppy from the coffin. Tears welled in his eyes when he noticed a note tucked into the soldier's jacket alongside the tiny animal. Slowly, he unfolded it and began to read aloud, his voice breaking with every word. The note revealed that the soldier had rescued the German shepherd and her newborn pup during his last mission. He had promised to bring them both home, to give them a safe life if he never returned. The soldier had hidden the puppy with him, ensuring the dog would not leave his side, even in death. The church fell silent, tears streaming down faces. What the dog had done was no ordinary loyalty. It was love beyond comprehension. The moment became a living miracle, a testament to the unbreakable bond between a soldier and a loyal friend he had saved. The officer's voice cracked as he finished reading the note, and the room fell silent. The German shepherd gently placed her paw on the soldier's coffin, her amber eyes shimmering with grief and pride. The tiny puppy whimpered, reaching out as if calling to the father it would never meet. Suddenly, an elderly woman in the crowd, the soldier's mother, let out a heart-wrenching sob. She stumbled forward, dropping to her knees beside the coffin. She cradled the puppy to her chest, her tears soaking its fur. He kept his promise," she whispered, her voice trembling with both pain and awe. Everyone in the church watched in complete stillness. The loyal dog rested her head on the mother's lap, as if offering her comfort, her body trembling with the weight of her own grief. Even the sternest soldiers could no longer hold back their tears. In that moment, no words were needed. The sight of a loyal dog, a helpless puppy, and a grieving family spoke louder than anything. It was as if the soldier's spirit was there, silently thanking his beloved companion for keeping his final wish alive. The room was wrapped in shared sorrow and an unshakable sense of love. The funeral ended under a sky painted with golden rays, as if the heavens themselves were watching. The soldier's mother carried the tiny puppy in her arms, while the loyal German shepherd walked silently beside her, never breaking step. It was clear she had taken on a new mission, protecting the last piece of the man she loved. Over time, the puppy grew strong and playful, always under the watchful eyes of the loyal shepherd. Villagers would see the two running through the fields, a living reminder of a love that refused to die. The mother, once consumed by sorrow, found hope in those innocent eyes and the silent companionship of the dog who had never abandoned her son. Years later, the story of the dog's loyalty became a cherished memory in the town. People would whisper about the day a dog barked endlessly in front of a coffin, refusing to leave until the truth of a soldier's love was revealed. And though the soldier was gone, his spirit lived on, through a faithful dog, a fragile puppy, and a family that discovered hope in the most unexpected way. It was a miracle no one could have imagined, and one that would never be forgotten.